Hi everybody, I'm coming to you live from my, sorry about that. Coming to you live from my back porch in Quarantine Central here. I decided, since I have to work from home with 5 kids doing homeschooling, and I'm sort of losing my mind myself as a psychologist, that other people are probably losing their minds too. And so since I'm working from home, I decided it might be a good idea for me to see if I could give some tips for people on how to survive this quarantine time and sort of this uncertain time that we're all dealing with. I've never done a YouTube video before, so forgive me if I'm not doing it right. I feel kind of self-conscious, but I don't know any other way to reach people. I thought about doing a PowerPoint presentation, but I thought that'd be pretty boring. So my hope is that in the future, I'm going to look at doing a Zoom meeting where we can all hop on and you guys can ask me questions live and about anything. Doesn't have to be COVID related. I was going to call this series Coping with COVID, but that seems kind of cheesy. But anyway, so I was going to think about Zoom or even Facebook Live so we could all connect virtually and just kind of exchange ideas and thoughts and what everybody's going through right now. So my thought is what I'm going to do is do a series of different ones. I'm going to have one on communication with spouses. I'm going to have one for little kids, middle schoolers and high schoolers, sort of adolescent aged, approaching them and sort of how they're doing with all of this. Sorry, I have my notes over here. And then, like I said, communication with spouses, things to do like in terms of setting a schedule, setting a routine, things of that nature. And then what I want to invite everybody to do is if you have particular questions or topics that you want me to talk about, I'd be more than happy to do that. And I'd love ideas since I'm kind of new at this whole virtual thing. And so I'll give you my email. It's the same as on the YouTube. It's kchristian, so it's KCHRISTIAN 2424 @gmail.com. Or you can call me or text me. My phone number is 703-505-2975. If you have specific suggestions about things that you'd like to see covered, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to help in any way I can remotely, 6 feet apart with a screen separating us. So anyway, let me dive into this. So basically, some of the things I want to talk about in future discussions are going to be definitely also people who are by themselves. So I think a lot of this, because I'm married to another psychologist. And so John and I are both working from home. We have 5 kids together. We're a blended family. So half the time we have mainly 4 kids. And then my stepson comes every other week. So right now we're going to be homeschooling 5 kids, a sophomore, a freshman, a 7th grader, a 6th grader, and then our daughter who is in 2nd grade. So in Virginia, our schools have closed down for the rest of the year. The teachers have been pretty good with communication, but it's kind of variable in terms of what they've said, what we need to do. Right now, it looks like our kids are going to graduate on their grade level, and they're saying we don't have to do any work. But basically for me, what does that look like? My kids are gamers. Some of them love being outside. Some of them would stay in their room all day long and eat Doritos. And so that's not going to be okay with me. Also, a lot of the older kids, the teenagers, like to stay up till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then they don't get up till noon. But then they'll keep me up at night, and I have to kind of keep a schedule. So that's kind of why we decided to do this. So one of the first things I want to talk about is setting a schedule and sort of what that looks like in these times. The one thing I want to tell everybody is be sort of compassionate with yourself in terms of setting the schedule. Try not to put too much pressure on yourself in regard to schooling your children. Like, most of us are not teachers. We're not equipped for homeschooling right now. I know a lot of our teachers have said that they're going to give us homeschool instruction. At least in our district, we're out in Prince William County. The teachers have said they wouldn't do that till after spring break. So right now, in order to avoid a free for all, I've adopted what our school has kind of sent out as a schedule. John and I both kind of talked about what our goals were for the schedule, and they were kind of simple in terms of not letting the kids be on computers all day, because like I said, many of them would, not letting them snack on junk food all day, getting adequate sleep and nutrition, and providing them with some sort of a consistent schedule, because we think that's really important during times like this. So those were the main goals. I can honestly tell you my main goal was not to take over the geometry teacher, the algebra teacher's mode or method of instruction, as well as sort of their instructional timeline, because I honestly have no idea how to do that. So I looked at a lot of homeschooling links and things like that online, and I can post a lot of those. I'm sure you guys all have access to that stuff too, but stuff like the live session, somebody had told me about the live session with Mo Willems, who does artwork. So Lily, our second grader, did that the other day. There's a reef talk with basically like a bio, I don't know what they are, down in Florida, that they did something on ecosystems the other day. Our children's jiu-jitsu coaches are doing things at night, so we're trying to tune into stuff like that. So we're trying to keep it as consistent and normal as possible. But in terms of setting your schedule, the one thing, and this will kind of go into the talk about, with communications with spouses, is you and your partner need to talk about what your goals are. I told you what our goals were. We kept them pretty simple, because at the beginning, I don't want to go too crazy. Anytime you're setting goals, it's always good to kind of keep them measurable and keep them consistent, but also keep them really realistic, because you don't want to get too outlandish and then put pressure on yourself and then kind of beat yourself up when you don't meet those goals. Similar to anybody who's ever set goals with like weight loss or, cutting back on if everybody has like smoking or anything like that, eating, what have you. So keep them measurable, keep them small, keep them consistent in the beginning, and then kind of grow from there. Remember that any sort of new habit takes about 2 weeks to really set in and kind of feel normal and feel routine. And especially right now, nothing really feels normal for us or for our kids. So a couple things that, help them feel normal are, hey, I know I'm going to have to wake up at this time every day. I know that I'm going to be doing this at this time every day. It doesn't have to be so rigid exactly that they do the same thing every day. It's just that they know what's expected of them. And so you and your partner definitely want to talk about what your goals for the family are, what your goals for the schedule are. My thinking on this, and sort of as a psychologist, but also more as as a mom, just in general, is we're going to have a Monday through Friday schedule, and then Saturday and Sunday are going to be weekends like they always were. As I call it, sort of like a free-for-all. It's not that they get to do whatever they want, but they don't have to go to bed at a certain time. They don't have to wake up. They might snack more. And I think that that's good for kids. They need to do that. So the main thing I want to talk about here is like you and your spouse talk about, communicate what you want out of your schedule. Then you all sit down as a family or individually, whatever works for you guys, and talk to your children or your child about what that schedule is. For me, I'm basically sitting down. I've sat down with each of the kids and talked about their individualized schedule at school, what they were doing, and then also sort of what fits for them. So some of the kids may not be morning people. They don't want to do math in the morning. I don't need to be too structured about it, but I did need to kind of sit down with everybody individually and go over what their schedules look like. In future podcasts or YouTube casts, whatever this thing is called, I am going to talk about communication with spouses, because I think during this time where most of us are not used to being the nuclear family at home with each other 24/7. And I've seen online from Facebook groups or just friends or whatever in the media that people are kind of snapping at each other, or people may be arguing more under people's feet, that sort of thing. I think that's normal and expected, but I want to talk about in future discussions about sort of how we can eliminate that, how we can communicate with our spouse, our needs, and sort of our expectations. Because a lot of this is really just communication, basic communication, to make sure everybody stays on the same page. So we'll talk about that in a future one. That'll be another sort of, I'm trying to keep these to 10 minutes, just so they're sort of more palatable. And since we all have a bunch going on, I don't want to make them too lengthy. But I do want to encourage you all, give me your thoughts, give me your suggestions for future things that you want me to cover from a psychological perspective. Another thing I plan to cover in another podcast or another discussion is basically mental health issues and mental health concerns during this time, that maybe if you've had them before or have never had them and are experiencing symptoms, sort of how to look at that and what to do with that, and when to know it's something really significant to pay attention to, and when to know that this is sort of part of the normal adjustment, and that you're not going crazy or you're not having a nervous breakdown, but you're having a normal response to an uncertain time, and that's like going to happen to everybody. Just give yourself some sort of grace with that. But then if it is getting significant, sort of what to do with that and who to call. I would be one of them. And then I'll help link you up with the appropriate resources. Right now, our community, and that's the psychology, counseling, social work community, is doing a lot of telehealth, telemental health. And thanks to technology, we can do that with actually seeing people. So that's great too. So once again, just want to welcome you. This is sort of just like a welcome introduction to what I'm planning to do. And then I'm going to maybe record one or two more today. And then I would really, really love if you guys sent me suggestions on what you would like for me to talk about. So again, my cell phone number is 703-505-2975. And email is all lowercase, and it's KCHRISTIAN2424@gmail.com. And I know many of you I've not met. I might work with you or work with your spouse or work with a friend of yours. But really, I'm just a psychologist and a mom who's trying to get out some resources for people who are going through kind of an uncertain time right now. Just want to be a resource. Anyway, look forward to meeting you guys. We get to do a Zoom meeting or maybe Facebook Live and connecting with you individually on your thoughts and suggestions. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.